Hi everybody, welcome to tonight's live class. If you can just let me know if you can hear me, I would appreciate that. I see some people coming in. If you can please just let me know if you can hear me in the comments. Hi Caitlin. Okay, so tonight we're going to be doing a Pringle shaker. So what we're going to be using is a can of Pringles. So I must just warn you, there are a couple different sizes. So there used to be just the one size of Pringles. There's now this one, there's one that's a little bit bigger, and I think there's one that might be a little bit smaller. So just be sure you get the right size. I will show you what we're going to do to work our design around the size of our Pringle can. We're also going to be using half a bauble. So this is from a split bauble. Wait, that way. So that's from a split bauble. We're going to be using that. We're going to be using some glitter paper. So this is paper. I got it from China Mall, but it is quite sturdy. I'm going to be using my trusty die cut and bond. I would suggest using a glue gun. That is a definite. We're going to be using some acetate, and we're going to be using some of this amazing foil sticker vinyl from Cricut, and then we're going to be using our blue and our green mat. Some of the other things we will need is obviously some photo paper for our printed elements, and then some pink or blue or whatever color cardstock you want for your little middle section. So here is what we will be making. I just got to get my direction right. There we are. How cute is that? So it's a little shaker, and there are Pringles inside of it. I have not eaten them, so just to let you know. And we have Pringles in there. I did not eat them. Okay, so this is an intermediate class. If I am moving a little bit fast for you, you're welcome to ask me to slow down, and I will do that for you. As always, this class is proudly sponsored by Cricut and Logitech. I am trying to keep track of the comments, so you'll notice that I keep looking down. I am trying to keep track of the comments. If I miss yours, one of our lovely admins will get to it. So let's jump into it. We're going to start on Design Space. So as you can see, I have my design set up, and we're going to use this as a guide, but I'm also going to show you how to create your own from scratch, basically. So Zelda says well done, and I'm going to assume that's for not eating the Pringles. Okay, so let's just jump over here quickly. I just want to show you, so I always work with my Cricut tape measure. It is super handy. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to measure the lid. Okay, so we're looking at 7.5 for the lid, and that's going to be for our little glitter piece that covers it. So you'll see, I don't know if you can see, I've actually got a little glitter around in there. So there's our shaker. Okay, so that is 7.5. We're going to do a circle, and then what you want to do is you want to measure around the whole Pringle can, like so, and you do want it to overlap slightly. So we're looking at about 24. Now I've noticed a slight issue with my Print Then Cut where it is cutting a little bit smaller, so I'm going to actually cut it, or I'm going to make that part of it a little bit bigger. Okay, so we've got our sizing now. So the first thing we're going to do, sorry, I did not show you the top to bottom sizing. So I'm just measuring that now. You're going to obviously want to measure from rim to rim. So let me just show you so you're not confused. There we are. So you can take the lid off. And you can see from rim to rim, we're just going to measure that. And we're looking at about 7.6. So it doesn't matter if it's slightly smaller, and you'll see why. Okay. So now we're going to start creating our template. We're going to insert a square. And we're going to make this 25. So remember I said to you that my print then cut is a little bit off. I don't know if everybody's experiencing the same issue. So I am just going to work around that, and I think that's very important to be able to figure out how to work around any issues that might arise pretty much with anything in life. So we're going to go 7.5. Okay, so let's just make this smaller. We're going to move this out of our way. There we are. Okay, so this is the part that's going to go around our rim, so we can actually push this up to 7.8. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this to Print Then Cut, and we're going to do a pattern fill. So I've done pattern fill quite a few times, and you'll actually notice that the design I'm going with is something that I've used across most of my Easter items that I've been making. So I do really love this design. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to filter this by pink, and we're just going to look for our design. I think it might be that one. Hello to everybody that is joining. You haven't missed much. We've just started. If you did miss anything important, you will be able to watch this back on the Cricut South Africa page, so you can always do that. Okay, so if we have a look at my design, you can see that I've got lines running through it, which obviously I don't want. So what we're going to do is we're going to say edit pattern, and we're then going to increase the scale, and we're just going to play with it until we get it to a place that we're kind of happy with it. So what I'm trying to do, if you look at the picture, I'm trying to make sure that I only have one line showing, and then I can play with my horizontal and vertical alignment. Okay, so we can try that. Let's say minus 20 and see. We want to go positive, so let's say 30. So this is kind of a guessing game. I wish I had some advice for you on how to make it perfect, but I kind of just guess as I go, play with it until I'm happy with it. And you can see I'm kind of just shifting it. So this end piece is going to overlap, so it's fine if you do have a little bit of the line showing. It's not going to matter too much. So that looks pretty good. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert another square. And this is going to be for our little glitter piece that we're going to put at the bottom. So for this, we're going to say 24, and we're going to make it about, I would say, 1 centimeter. It doesn't need to be too big. And we're going to change that to pink so that our machine knows to cut it out of the same color. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look for a scalloped line. And here we have one. So I quite like that. So this, we're going to unlock it. Are we? I don't think that was the one that I used. Let's try that one. Yes. Okay, so the reason I've now switched is that this one is a lot bigger. So when I change the size to 25 or to 24, let's say 24.5, you'll see that I have a lot more of the little scallops in it, if that's what they're called. Whereas if I had stretched this one out, that's what it would have looked like. So I've gone for one that was a lot bigger, and then I've just made it the size that I want it to be. Okay, so what we can do is we can just increase that slightly, and that's going to help us to cover the rim. So this is what we're going to use to cover the rim of our lid and the bottom of our split bauble. So we're going to duplicate this, and what I'm doing is I'm just adding a little bit of extra height to it. So you can see there I've just added a little bit of extra flat height to it. I'm going to then select both of them, and I'm going to say align center horizontally, and then I'm going to weld that. So that's going to be my final piece for the top. So we're going to change that to pink too. Paula says that she was so excited that she logged in at 6. I'm so sorry for the wait. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a circle, and we're also going to insert a scalloped circle. Okay, so our scalloped circle is going to be our little centerpiece here, and this circle is going to be for the lid. So we said we were going to go with 7.5 for the lid. So I think we should just go a little bit smaller so that it fits snugly. So I'm going to say 7.3, and then I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to change the color, and then I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, so my outside is going to be glitter and my inside is going to be pink, as you may or may not have seen. And I'm just going to manually change the size to what I want it to be. Okay, I think that's good. So what I usually do when I'm doing offsets or making something a little bit smaller is I will usually go about 1 millimeter downwards. If I want a very dramatic offset, then I go 0.2. So that's if you want to be a little bit more technical on your results. I think you may have noticed, if you've joined any of my classes before, I do a lot of it by eye. I don't really work off of an exact set size. I just go with what looks good. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look under our bookmarks, and we're going to get our trusty little bunny that I love so much. And he's going to go there. So I think 4.5 on him would, oh, let's do 5. I think 5 will be good for him. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is now work on the lid. So I'm not sure if you could see in the video when I was showing you that I've actually used a piece of acetate and I've put some foil vinyl onto it as my centerpiece inside of my shaker. So I really like that idea. I'm gonna obviously continue on with that, but you can use anything. So if you're doing a birthday, you can do a cardstock number with a glitter backing. It's completely up to you, but I will show you how I did mine. So what I do just want to do is I do just want to take you back to our desk view. So remember, whatever you put inside of it, it can't obviously be taller than what your bauble is going to allow. So for that, I just dropped this in, and I kind of figured, okay, it can't be taller than 4 centimeters. If it's taller than that, it's going to squish against the top and it's not going to look good. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for Happy Easter. And while I want something beautiful, sort of flowy, I don't want anything that is going to be too thin. So remember, we're making this quite small, so we don't want it to be too thin. We don't want it to be too complicated or intricate. I guess if you want to do it like that, it's completely up to you, but I would rather go with a little bit of a safer option. Okay, so for this, I'm going to go, let's go 2.5. I think that might be a little bit big. Okay, I'm going to add an offset to this. So if you are new and you battle to cut very thin words, adding a very small offset to it helps it. It gives it just enough thickness that your machine can cut it without shredding it. So we're going to apply that. Am I happy with it? I am happy with that, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another offset, and this is going to be for our acetate. So we're going to go with 0.1, have a look at it. Let's go 0.2. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now you can see, if I zoom in, that it has little holes in it. Now I don't want my acetate backing, sorry, my mouse is wonky. I don't want my acetate backing to have any holes in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say contour, and I'm going to say hide all contours. That's going to give me a solid backing. I'm just going to change the color of that so that I can see a bit better. And then I'm going to have a look at our size. So our size still looks good. Our width is good. Let me just double check. So what I'm doing is I'm having a look at the bauble across, and I'm seeing if 4 centimeters across will be too big. It looks like it's fine, but I am just going to make this 4 centimeters. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert 2 squares. I can actually insert 1, and then we will just edit it. Okay, I'm just making that smaller. And what this is going to be is this is actually going to go into the topper that I've created for our lid. So I'm going to obviously show you how that works. We're going to duplicate that. We're going to align it. So these are going to be hidden. Part of it is going to be hidden where you can't see it, and part of it's going to kind of hold it up. So you don't have to worry too much about how they look. You don't really notice them. So we want that center vertically. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select our squares and our offset, and we're going to weld that. We do just want that to be blue again. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to insert a score line, and we're going to rotate that 90 degrees. So we want it to be sideways. So Natalie's given a really good tip in the comments. She said that if you want to cut very thin or detailed wording, you could use iron-on instead of vinyl or cardstock, and I think that is an absolutely awesome tip. I personally find that it is a lot easier to cut very thin details out of iron-on. It is an absolute dream to work with, so that is a great tip. Okay, so we've added in our score line. So what I just want to do is I just want to insert a shape next to our little sign so that we can make sure that we've got it the right size. So remember our maximum height needs to be 4 centimeters. So we look like we are good. We can actually move that down slightly. Yep, we are good to go. Okay, so we can get rid of that. Now we're going to attach, oopsie, don't do that. We're going to attach our score line to our weld result, so our offset. So remember, attaching is going to make 2 or more functions work together on the same mat. So what I do just want to do is I'm going to insert a square, and I'm just going to reinforce this midsection at the top. So I'm just going like that. There we are. And I'm going to detach this quickly. And I'm just going to weld this. And we're going to reattach that. We're going to send that to the back. Let's actually detach that. And I'm just going to line it up better. There we are. Now we can attach it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a score line again, but this time we're going to make it into a basic cut line. We're going to rotate that 90 degrees, and we want it to sort of match the size of this. Can be slightly bigger. That's good. Make it a little smaller here. Okay, so our cut line, we can zoom out now. Our cut line is actually going to be, let's make it a little bigger. It's actually going to be for the center of our disc on top. So we're going to align center horizontally, align center vertically, and then we're going to attach that. Yes, so on Sunday, so Deirdre says the foil iron-on we used on Sunday, I'm assuming is amazing, and it really is. We actually made some serviettes for Easter. Just a side note on that, if you do decide to do that, you should not use them you know, on your face. It's more of like a decorative thing. So just a side note on that. Okay, I think we're good to go. So let me just zoom out so I can see, did we forget anything? We didn't, so we can get rid of all of this. Just double check our sizing, and then we're going to say make it. So I'm going to be using the Maker 3, and I'm just going to get rid of the stuff that we don't need for now. Okay, so I'm going to reiterate that you should be using your glue gun. I have a love-hate relationship with my glue gun at the moment, so I will not be using that. But yes, you should really be using your glue gun for this. Okay, so we're going to say continue. We're going to send this to our printer. I'm using a glossy photo paper. The same one that I always use. To be honest, I haven't had any issues with a photo paper this far. I think as long as it is for your specific type of printer, then you should be good. As always, we're going to be using our system dialog, and what that is it allows me to control the settings that my printer is going to print with. So my preferences are high quality glossy paper, and of course A4 to match the size that I have in Design Space. Just to give you an idea as well, if I don't change those settings, my paper size is actually defaulted to letter, my output quality is lowest, and my media type is normal copy paper. So what would happen then is my print would actually print with a lot of lines on it, and it really wouldn't look good. Okay, that's going to print for us. Once that has printed, then I'm going to use a medium cardstock on less pressure to cut it. Okay, while we're waiting for that, let's switch you over here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you will notice that the baubles have that little thing on top of it. You do just want to cut that off. We don't want that. Okay, so I just use scissors and I cut it off. We're going to get rid of that. Okay, while we are waiting for that to print, I'm going to start cutting my other pieces. So remember, with all of my cardstock, I mirror it because I find that I get a better result that way. The only one I'm not going to mirror is the glitter because I don't want to mess up my mat, and I find that it cuts very well. Okay, so I'm going to first do some cardstock, and I'm going to be using cardstock for intricate cut setting. I know that it works for me, and as you can see I have a little offcut. And my mat's super sticky, so I'm just using my fingers or my hands to stick it down. Okay, we'll put this out the way for now. We're going to get our glitter cardstock ready, so it has lots of beautiful colors. We're going to be using this one. So the back of this, it's sort of like, I don't know, it's smooth. It gives you the impression that it's a sort of sticker cardstock, but it really isn't. I just find that this very smooth backing sticks to the mat super well. Maybe too well at times. It looks like I made my scallops way too small, but it's okay, we will move with it. So I'll give you a little tip. What I did with this one, okay, so this is if you want to now create your own one from scratch. What I did is I put all of my pieces on, and then I measured the space that I had in the middle, and then I accommodated my middle design to that space. So that's just something you can keep in mind if you want to design one from scratch. You don't want to go with what I'm doing. So as always, make sure that your little arrow is in the top corner. And we're just going to gently stick that down. I'm going to be using medium cardstock on less pressure for this. It is gorgeous paper, isn't it? I actually bought it for Riley's birthday. I had some things that I needed to make, and of course I went way overboard, and I now have enough to last me a lifetime. So there's that. Okay. So this little bunny, if you've watched my previous classes, you will remember that it cuts very shaky. So yes, my machine is supposed to be doing that. It's just the design of the bunny. Okay, so we have our Pringles, everything we need. So, I mean, we have time while it does its thing there, but how beautiful is this color? I absolutely love it. It's like a rose goldy color, sort of like the foil that we're going to be using. Absolutely love it. Stunning. Okay, while we wait for that to cut out, I have taken my scoring wheel out. We're going to be using that with our acetate. So I'm using clear acetate. It's normal Cricut clear acetate, and we're going to be sticking our decal onto that. I do have a bit of a hoarding problem. I love pretty things, but I also love to make pretty things. So I love that I have very random things that I can use to be creative, so no apologies. So while that's cutting, let's talk a little bit about the, I want to say weekly challenge, but it's going to go on for the next 3 weeks. There is a chance to win basically once a week. So it is a random acts of kindness challenge, and this is one of my absolute favorite challenges. So what I usually do, and you'll probably notice this if you watch any of my future lives or any of the ones that I've already done, is I very often have baby grows that I will personalize. So I don't have a baby, but I found that it's a very cost-effective option for a blank. And then what I do with that is I actually donate it afterwards. So the point is, there's always an opportunity to give back in a cost-effective way, and in a way that can also be fun for you. So I am very excited to see what everybody comes up with. It is currently live on the group, and I would love to see everybody's entries for that. So if you are interested in entering that competition and you would like to show somebody some love, remember, it doesn't have to be anything big. The smallest gesture can make somebody's day. A card, a t-shirt, you know, a little bag filled with goodies if you have the finances for it. It doesn't always have to be an expensive option. So I'm very excited to see what everybody comes up with. I think we had somebody on the group maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago. She actually took old coffee bottles, you know, the glass like Jacob's bottles, and she printed a little recipe on it, and she filled it up with stuff for soups. So it's very cheap, very cost effective, but that definitely would have made somebody's day if they, you know, were a little bit financially strapped and they needed something to eat. So I thought that was a beautiful project. Yeah, I love it. Very cool. Rianette says her hobby is buying craft things, and I think we can all agree. Yeah, crafting is broken up into two categories, and they are both legitimate hobbies. One of them is purchasing hobby supplies, and the other one is using hobby supplies. No. So Paula says, first person that logged in gets a bundle of free glitter cardstock. I feel like it was her that logged in. I don't know if I'm ready to part with my glitter cardstock, so I'm going to have to politely decline. So as you can see, this is taking quite a while to cut, but again, it is the bunny design that I've chosen. I've been through this a couple times with him, but he's so worth it. I love this little bunny. Very cute. Very, very cute. So I do also just, well, I mean, we have time. So what you can also do, if you want to use a full one of these, you can actually use the full one on top. I've seen people do that, and you could obviously just glue it to your lid. Okay, so we just want to make sure we've cut through. We have. And you can see, as always, I curl my mat away from my item. Okay, next we're going to cut this. Okay, so what you do just want to remember when you're working with something like this in an A4 size, you do want to make sure that you either change your page to A4 size, or you flip all of your designs so that they fit onto your page. So I'm just doing that quickly because I did not do that. Okay, we're good to go. And I'm going to be using my glitter cardstock setting, even though it's probably a little bit dramatic. Okay, so this is going to go around here. We're just going to make sure that it overlaps nicely. There we are. And remember, we're going to have a piece of glitter cardstock here, so I'm not too worried about it not reaching the bottom. If you wanted to, obviously you can just change your sizing to accommodate it. Okay, so we're going to be using our die cut and bond. You can use anything you like. You can use glue, I guess double-sided tape, which is kind of what dark cut and bond is. Okay, so I'm just cutting it nice and straight quickly. And I'm just going to cut some strips out of it. And we're just going to stick this onto there. So I don't know if you can see that. You can. So I'm just sticking it onto the back of our beautiful patterned paper that we have created. Here we are. So let's just take this out. So I don't know if you can actually see that on the camera, but this is it really gets stuck to it. So that is why I used the light grip with this. Like, it really gets stuck on there. And that is also why we don't pull the material off of the cardstock. The material off of the mat. Sorry. Okay, so all of these are going to curl. I mean, I'm going to use them to curl around my design, so I'm not too stressed if they are not straight. These, I do want them to be as straight as possible. Okay, next we're going to be doing our acetate, and for that I am just going to use the green mat. And you can see my acetate is a little frosty, and that's because it has covering on the back and front, which I should take off, but I personally prefer to keep it on until I'm done cutting. Okay, so we're going to be using the foil acetate setting, and I'm going to be doing that on more pressure. So I am adjusting my pressure to accommodate for the fact that I've left my backing on the front and back. So remember, it now has to cut through both of them. Okay, I'm using my single scoring wheel. Karen says, I love a shiny new mat. I must admit, I love a shiny new mat. It just gives me all the happy feels. All of them. Okay, we're then going to remove the backings. It's now asked me to put my fine point blade back in so that it can do its cutting. The tweezers really work for this. There we are. Okay. We will deal with that now. So what we want to do is we want to sort of get it in the center where we're happy. So what I would personally do, so remember you're going to have this on the bottom, so what I would do is make sure that the top is covered so that when they take the lid off you don't have red showing. Okay, so make sure you have it right on top, and then the bottom we are going to cover with that. Okay. Okay, so we just want to make sure that's in there. And then you're just going to go in and you're going to sort of press it down. Okay. Make sure you keep your little flap out. You don't want to stop the kiddos from eating their Pringles. Okay, so I do just want to make sure we've cut through here. Looks like we have, yeah, we're good. And then we have our little acetate piece. So I could have made these little bottom pieces longer, but it's fine. It's completely fine. It's always fine. Okay, our last piece that we have left is our beautiful foil, our Cricut foil. So I'm just cutting a little piece. I don't want to stick a whole piece on my mat. So Natalie says the weeding tool is her go-to tool to remove the backing of double-sided tape. I must admit I've gotten quite good with the tweezers. I use them very often and I love it. Okay, so for this we're going to be using our foil, I think it says foil adhesive. I'll tell you now what it says. Adhesive foil. So we're going to be using adhesive foil and we're going to do more pressure on that. Yes, that is actually a very good idea. I do have a tumbler mug cradle. I don't have it with me. So one of the unfortunate things about hoarding is that the stuff's kind of everywhere. So I do have one of those and that would work great for sticking it onto your can. I just want to make sure that's all down. Okay, I'm using jewel bond. You can again use double-sided tape. You can use pretty much whatever you had. I think you could print onto self-adhesive photo paper. That could definitely work. But then what I would obviously suggest is don't uncover the whole thing. So you're just going to uncover one section of it, and then you will kind of stick it down, and then you would remove it as you go. I think that's going to be your best bet with your adhesive photo paper. This glue is not working for some reason, so I will be using a different jewel bond. So what you can also do, if you don't have, let's say you've only got the Joy and you would like to make something like this, you can print onto photo paper just a pattern. It doesn't have to be through the Print Then Cut, so you can download a pattern, you can print onto your photo paper, and then you could actually just cut your rectangle out of that. And then for the front you could just do something with vinyl or cardstock. It doesn't have to be like a Print Then Cut bunny. I've seen a lot where they don't have Print Then Cut items on it, so it's completely up to you how you do it. Okay, so now we're sticking our glitter bit on the bottom, glitter bit. And for this, again, I've used Jewel Bond. And we just want to make sure that's nice and on there. Did that cut? I think it did. We shall see now. So I should have tested that before unloading, but it's fine. If it didn't cut, we can just recut it. So I think that is all of our pieces cut beautifully. I lost my scissors for a second there. Okay, so I'm just going to check if our Easter has cut. If it hasn't, then we will just go again. So the foil vinyl is really, really thick. I think it's the only one I've really had any issues ever with cutting, but it's so beautiful and it's so worth it. Yeah. So that is just why I'm a little worried about this one not cutting, but I think we should be good. Yep, we're good. Here we are. Okay, so let's just put that there. I am just battling to get it off here. There we are. So I am doing Easter because Easter's still coming, and my daughter doesn't much like Easter eggs. I think she's probably the only kid on earth who's not really into Easter eggs. Oh, did I cut it? I think I tore our H. So she loves Pringles, and I wanted to do something that would be fun for her, so that's why we're doing Pringles. So I am just pulling pieces up here, so obviously just be careful of that. Did I just tear our tea? I did. Oh my goodness, I'm savaging this poor thing. So obviously just be careful, don't tear it to pieces. This reflective vinyl with the light right above it is really hard for my eyes to see. There we are. Okay, we did it! Yay! Oh goodness, I think I did tear the H. I did. So we're just gonna fix him up. He'll live, it'll be fine. I love this foil. I love it. I think this is probably the hardest part of the whole project, is trying to weed foil. And yes, I could have chosen a different vinyl, but honestly I didn't want to. I wanted this one. I think you can see that I'm really battling, and it's honestly, it's not the vinyl, it's me. I can't see. But we're almost there. Okay. Oh my goodness. I really cannot see. And I love that everyone's just being so patient with me. I appreciate you all. Okay, now I'm just going to get normal grip transfer tape, not strong grip. Not strong grip. And remember I said that on the acetate there is a covering on the back and the front, so you're going to want to remove part of the front. So I'll leave the back on until the very end. So there you can see I've got a little plastic sheet on it, that's to protect it obviously. So what I found, so Tanya says that she battles with the foil. What I found in terms of cutting, what helps is if you use the textured metallic setting. In terms of weeding, if you have bad eyes like me, then unfortunately I have no advice, because you all saw me just fighting for my life. So there's that. But I think for me, if I just don't do it in such a bright light, then it's not a problem. I cannot get, I'm just not having a good day in terms of, there we are. Got it? Got it? Okay, this is how I transfer all of my vinyl. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's foil, normal vinyl, it doesn't matter. I find this to be the most effective way. So we call this the rolling method. And for me, it is a lot easier. So what I do is I kind of roll it back on itself. And if there's any pieces that didn't take, then I just roll back, press down and roll. So like there. And then you can also change your direction if necessary. And there we have it. I almost lost my acetate because it's see-through. Okay, so I can see a piece here that I forgot, or that I didn't get. Okay, now we need to try and get this in the center. It's not going to matter too much if it's not completely in the center. I can't see it. Okay, so I do just have to bring it closer so that I can see it a bit better. There we are. And then we have our pretty happy Easter sign. Okay, now we can remove the piece off the back because we're going to start assembling this. If we can get it. Here we are. Okay, now we have our little pieces that we've bent here. So we're going to bend one forward and one back, and it's going to make that shape. So you're going to have a little base for it. And then you're going to take your circle that we've cut with the little line. We're going to put this through like so. So you want both of those pieces to go through. Okay. And you're going to fold them outwards. And that is going to give you a little stand-up centerpiece. Nice and simple. We're just going to test to make sure that we have the right sizing. Looks good. As you can see, everything fits in there. Now we can glue this onto our base. So what I did for this is I used a small piece of our die cut and bond just for the center. And then I actually went and I filled in with glue. So what you can also do if you are particular and you want the inside to look good as well, you can obviously cut another piece of glitter and you can stick it on the inside so that they won't see what is holding it all together at the bottom. So we're just gonna go like that. So this dome is a split bauble. They're actually for Christmas. So it's called the split bauble. It comes obviously with two pieces. They fit together. We've cut the little hanging piece off of it. So that is what that is. So you can just Google split bauble. I think this might be an 8 centimeter one. We'll just have to double check that for you. Okay, so we're just gonna get that in the middle. Okay, you can see that the little pieces are lifting up, so that's when I came with my glue. And I just filled in. So I'll show you the bottom just so you can see, and then you can obviously make that decision if you want to fill yours in or if you're happy with it as it is. For me, I mean, I don't mind. I think if it was for a client, I probably would, but if it's, I mean, for your own kid, yeah, they don't mind. They're just happy. They're happy to be involved. Okay, we are almost done. Sorry, I'm a little delayed today, it seems. Okay, so there we have our topper. So you obviously just want that nice and down. And there you can see, so you can see the glue from the bottom. I mean, it's not dramatic or anything, so I think it would be fine like that. Okay, so this is where you are going to want to use your glue gun. I'm not going to be using my glue gun because I have a love-hate relationship with my glue gun, so I'm not going to be doing that. So we're going to turn this upside down. We're going to fill it with some balls or whatever you want to fill it with, glitter, whatever you want. And then I've got some down here as well. Okay. So now we're going to stick this. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using my die cut and bond. I have tested this and it holds really well for me. You're going to want to use your glue gun. So what you're going to do with your glue gun is you're obviously going to put this on like that, and you're going to go around the edge. So if you have a very good hand, what you can do is you can actually, oopsie, we don't want to squish that. What you can do is you can put your glue around the edge, and then you can just flip this and you can put it on like so. You're obviously going to want to hold it there until it's dry. Let's just check. I could probably put some more balls in there. Make it a little fuller. I feel like these crafts are a great reason to have Pringles in the house, and I love Pringles. And if I'm honest, these are probably not going to last till Easter. when the kids open them and there's nothing in it, I will act just as surprised as everybody else that there is nothing in them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make little strips, and that's going to seal mine for me. Again, you're going to use your glue gun. So if you go around the edge, what you do is you hold it together. Okay, you're going to go around the edge with your glue gun, and then what I like to do is I actually take a piece of plastic, and as I'm going around it, I just scrape it so that it gives it a smooth edge. You obviously don't want to go too far up the side of your bauble because that's going to ruin your bauble. You don't want that. Okay. Just don't eat the Pringles. So Karen said don't eat the Pringles. She has speckled eggs to put into her empty tins if they last. And honestly I think speckled eggs have less of a chance of surviving than a can of Pringles. So we've already finished a thing of speckled eggs. They did not last. They tried. Okay, so I'm just cutting more pieces. You want that sort of as flat as possible. So I'm going around two sides, and then I will connect it in the center, just to make it a bit easier for myself. And again, glue gun should definitely be the way that you go with this. I do not have luck with my glue gun at the moment. I went and I bought a brand new glue gun, and it's the worst. It is honestly the worst. I wish I had positive words for it, but I just really don't. Oopsie, we left that behind. I really am failing at that. Okay, start clean. Oh, I see Lee in the comments. Hi Lee. I missed what Zelda did, but it must have been bad. Okay, there we are. And then our last little piecey here. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, then we're going to remove this. So if you've used a glue gun, that's completely fine. All you're going to do is you're going to put glue on the top section here, because obviously by this point your hot glue would have been dry. So you would have to accommodate. Oopsie, don't stick your fingers to it. And again, I honestly can't reiterate this enough. Glue gun is 100% suggested. That should be the route that you're going. Okay, so I'm just putting this on just so that I can see. And then I'm going to stick my little lippy onto it. So your lippy is here to cover the lid, and then to cover where your lid and your bauble connect. Here we are. Did we put that the right way? I don't think we did. I don't know if we did. Okay, then the final thing we're going to do is we're going to stick our little bunny on. So for this, what I did is I used double-sided tape. And this is of course my homemade double-sided tape with EVA and die cut and bond. Okay, and I wanted some definition for the bunny. So you're gonna see this bunny is a little bit small, and that's why I said when you are ready to do your centerpiece, measure how much space you have, and then that's going to tell you how much or how big the design is that you can go on the front once you've added everything together. Okay. There we have it. And then what I did is I just glued this on. I didn't want it to stick out too much. Michelle said she had also had a problem with her glue gun, and she bought a Bosch glue gun with a precision tip, and she's very happy. So I love that advice. I will take it and I'll have a look into that, because I'm just not having luck with glue guns at the moment. And it actually isn't too bad. We didn't go too small. There we have it. So let's just make sure he's nice and stuck. We have, I don't want to break all the Pringles. So you can see that with this one I went bigger on the center and this one's smaller on the center, but they are both very happy little shakers, and I have been shaking them. I shouldn't have, but I have been. So there are the shakers. I can't wait to see what everybody's going to do with their shakers, the different things that they're going to create. I am very, very excited for this. It's actually a very, very simple craft. I think a lot of people have possibly been intimidated to try, but it is one of those things that is super, super simple to do. So I hope that everybody's going to try it, and I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with. Maybe that can be part of your random acts of kindness challenge. You can send me some Pringles. Just saying. Thank you so much for joining. I honestly do enjoy spending this time with all of you and sharing this creativity, and I can't wait to do it with you again soon. Thanks. Bye.